anti-resume.
I'm going to put it on my resume.
Who was it? Was it Bill Lauer who's like, fuck it, we'll do it live? Was it that guy?
Who is that?
That quote is familiar, but that name is not.
I don't know.
We'll do it live. And then I basically I was like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. And I messaged him like, all right, let's do this. I don't know what this is. I have no experience. I told Mitch, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm interested. So I have awesome insight all the time.
Did you start listening to podcasts more?
I listened to Mike Dicta because I think it was actually after our first episode I started listening to it, and then I got into that, and that was my only podcast. I mean, I heard people talk about it, but I just thought it was like this stupid hipster thing, like, ooh, I'm listening to this podcast, and I really enlightened my life to be a better person. I'm like, shut up.
That's what people say.
And now we're all going to meditate.
Exactly. Set the scene.
Summer 2018. Walking down the street. See a bird. Something on the bird. Follow the bird. String tied to the bird. There's a note. There's a message. Message says, you've been selected. And there's an email address. I think that it's the Audubon Society. So I message them and say, hello. I knew you were coming for me. Thank God you're finally here. Turns out, it's not. It's Mitch.
The world's biggest letdown.
It was, some might say, a consolation prize. I'm still coming to terms with it. But I have seen birds since then. None of them have had messages. I still don't know how Mitch got the note on the bird. To be determined.
I just see him chasing down a bird like, give me your fucking foot.
Yeah, so that was about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I remember it a bit differently.
Oh.
I have the email here that you sent me.
That's definitely not what happened.
So you said...
Wait, what did the bird tell you?
Hannah said, hi, I heard from Robbie, who's...
That was the bird's name.
Yeah.
I think he's a 2L at... 3L at the U of M. And I am intrigued by your podcast idea. Depending on what angle you're trying to take, I might be a good fit. I'm a leftist, focusing on environmental law. Also interested in labor issues, economics, and reproductive rights. I've worked in the service industry for years and have mostly non-law background. I tend to be cynical about the culture of law school and the profession in general, though if you are looking for a more positive, we're looking for resume points to get federal clerkships, I would probably say that I'm too controversial. Also, I tend to swear. Let me know if you're interested.
You just submitted your amateur curriculum vitae.
Thanks, Hannah.
I mean, was that an inaccurate description?
No.
Hey, you're here now. That's the point.
And
You
it was
took it.
leftist, though you have several times since then, for the record, you said that I said feminist in my email to you. And we have now conclusively determined it was not.
It's implied.
It was
leftist.
leftist.
Not that I'm not a feminist, I'm just saying. Accuracy, bro.
It's that, what is that? It's rules of interpretation. Like all the surrounding words, we can deduce that you're probably a feminist based on the current list of things that you listed out. I don't know what rule that is. It's a Latin word. We'll figure it out. It's in crim law. Well, it's any kind of statutory interpretation.
Semper ubi su ubi.
I think the only Latin one I know is stare decisis. Oh. That's probably the only Latin one I've picked up really well.
What about sua sponte?
Sua sponte.
Sua sponte, yeah, a
the
little
improv
bit.
group, right?
I kind of, yeah. Was there any other Latin ones?
Canis in via dormit?
No, don't know that one.
I read
yet.
Post hoc ergo propter hoc and torts the other day.
Yeah.
Was it like ridiculum ad absurdum?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all logical fallacies. Yeah.
Ab initio, like initiating it.
Aloha mora expelliarmus.
I feel like those aren't Latin.
They are Latin, aren't they? They are Latin. They're totally Latin.
Grumionum ancili delectat.
Mm-hmm.
That one, that's from my high school Latin textbook. And it was an old and controversial textbook. It means The slave girl pleases the cook. The whole Latin textbook was set in Pompeii, and everybody dies at the end.
Oh,
It was
spoiler alert.
Wow, yeah.
Everybody except one character, Caecilius, who survives and moves to like a different city, and then you can have Latin too, because they had to have some continuity.
I think the last one that I get is how do we find our guests and how do we get them to come onto our podcast?
We shout on the street. Like,
Pretty
hey.
much. We
Message
get
in a bottle still works, folks.
All the students are either people that had emailed me about the podcast, or they're just people that we know,
Friends,
through
cool
friends
people.
from our current law school days.
We contacted the disciplinary boards, and actually every guest here has been, this is part of their community service, as it is for all of us.
They have to sit here in a room with Hannah for an hour, and then they'll be totally reformed. Like, I don't ever want to do this again.
Justice is done.
And then I got a lot of questions about John Gordon, the executive director of the Minnesota ACLU. I literally just emailed them and was like, "Hey, can someone come on this podcast?" And they were like, "Sure. How about the executive director of this branch of the ACLU?" And they were like, "I was like, okay."
Yeah, they were cool.
So-
He was cool.
He was really cool.
Minnesota ACLU, you rock.
Before we begin, please visit us on social media at Cold Call Lawcast. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Tell us what you think of our podcast or ask us a question.
Welcome back to the Cold Call Lawcast. Right now we have we're looking through letters, and specifically we get so much hate mail for Hannah.
I write most of it myself.
And so this is a segment called Hate Mail for Hannah.
TM.
Do.
I think we're actually going to play like metal music and like someone's like hard rock going in like hate mail for Hannah, something like that. So just wait for it. Yeah.
Hate mail for Hannah. Oh yeah, it'll be good.
Okay, our first message. Dear Hannah, you're such an offensive feminist socialist. You hate capitalism just like all the other left-wing socialists. You must hate America because of your unfettered hatred for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Trump and his family are successful business people. Get over it, Trump won. He's a winner. You're a loser like the other communist socialists. Sincerely, Helen Palsgraf.
Was that supposed to be hate mail, or was that just like a bio? Because that was touching, actually.
So
I appreciated that.
I mean, what's your response to Helen?
Thank you, Helen. You described me quite accurately. I appreciate how closely you're obviously watching my career. I know that you're made up, being that your last name is Palsgraf, and Mitch is in torts right now.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. There are lots
good
of
job,
people
Mitch.
There are lots of people named Palsgraf. Okay. Are you ready? Now, I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to bleep these out. We don't traditionally bleep out swear words, but this person was pretty awful to you, dear Hannah. You're a fucking. You talk out of your fucking ass. You don't know anything. You fucking. Furthermore, you fucking.
Okay, I think that one actually was me. Was that me?
that was by Alexis Reed. Do you know who is that?
Oh yeah, Alexis is a good friend.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And so, what's your response there? I mean, is that?
Yeah, I'll see you next week. Cool.
The next one, dear Hannah, I will be praying for
I like
you
the
tonight.
deers. I like that's
The deer
people
Hannah?
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Dear Hannah, I think this person's very, really looking out for your well-being. Dear Hannah, I will be praying for you tonight. Though you dislike our one true president, Donald Trump,
Our dear leader.
you will one day see the shining light of his moral justice. Though the abominations of gay marriage, abortion, and global warming are trying to destroy our very nation, Judge Kavanaugh will save us, and he will save you and your soul.
Really?
God bless, Mike Pence.
Did you
Wait,
say abomination? Because that is like
That
the
is
word
so good.
win of the night.
Abomination.
If we can get some kind of chime in, because that was pretty good.
Where was that?
Did he actually say that?
Yeah, abomination.
Abominations.
You
Yeah.
totally said abomination.
Did I say abomination? Are trying to destroy
They're
our nation?
abominations.
Oh man, that's like a new term that we can coin for like instead of
I
snowflakes.
mean, Mike
Abominations.
Pence here.
Oh my
Mike
God.
Pence here. He coined it. So I mean, he can't do that. So do you have any messages for this Mike character? I mean, it's great that he listens to our show.
It is great, and I don't really want to speak ill of listeners because it's nice of them to give any of their time to listen to us, and even if it's making him upset, it's okay. It's probably the flood of letters that he's still getting from people donating to Planned Parenthood in his name. Yeah, you're welcome.
Did you do one of those donations?
I might have, I probably did. That time was very much a blur in retrospect. I mean, the whole month surrounding the Trump election, I think is probably for a lot of people kind of like a black hole of memory.
Oh, Kavanaugh.
Yeah, and Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh.
No, he wasn't black. He was blacked out too.
Yeah, he was.
He was probably blacked out during that time too. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah,
In celebration,
I'm gonna be in
yeah.
the Supreme Court
He
now.
knew his time was up. Yeah, he was coming.
Egg stand Kavanaugh.
Okay. Yeah, I like Blackout Brett.
Blackout Brett.
Blackout Brett, Keg Stand Kavanaugh. Oh, there's a lot. We got to figure out what his middle name is.
Keith.
Researcher.
He looks like a Keith.
Is Brett short for anything? Brett is just a name on its own, isn't it?
Brettward.
Brett to you?
Brettathor.
Michael.
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 Okay. I thought for sure it would be Miller.
Bretrid Michael Covenue.
Michael? That's my middle name.
Oh, well,
That's rough.
What'd you learn from this?
yeah.
Full names like
Too bad for you.
like Debbie and Deborah, or Peggy or Pegra.
Pegra? Pegra?
That's the name.
It is. It's one of those horses with the horns.
Pegra.
Do you want us to read?
Oh yeah. That's I mean, this one's real. We should actually read that one.
So not that the other letters that you received were not real.
Yeah,
but
that Paulsgraph lady.
that Helen
Hey,
Paulsgraph,
she's a
she
nice
really
lady.
liked you. I mean, she was a nice girl.
She's praying for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So recently, the Chief Justice Roberts, he came and he visited the university, and Hannah was there just in full support of him. But Hannah had talked to a local newspaper, the Minnesota Daily. In the very last part of the article, they wrote on some where you had said, "It's not just Dr. Ford," referring to
Why we were protesting.
why you're protesting. "It's not just Dr. Ford," said law student Hannah. "Roberts has a bad history on voting rights and money in politics." The best part were the comments after the article was published.
My trolls.
You had quite a few gifted trolls here. Hopefully they're listening to this because we would love to have them come on.
I bet they are. Yes, please. What's our top contender there?
So the first one here who commented the most, his name is Lost on Campus.
Lost on Campus.
Shout out.
If anyone knows who Lost on Campus is, has contact info, please let us know because he is they is a prolific poster on Minnesota Daily. We've looked into it. Over 5,000. He's over 5,000 posts on the Minnesota Daily site. So as you can see, he's a very important individual.
And he clearly has time to come on and do this. So.
Yeah, I mean, very clear. And wants a forum.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are that forum.
We'll supply that, definitely.
Lost on Campus. I also like the username, It's like Lost in Space, kind of. But
So he says, first he quotes you in saying that, Roberts has a bad history on voting rights. And